Okay, so I'm going to talk about the motivations for women. I talked about the motivations for men in a previous video and how I think most men are motivated to, buy a family, buy more traditional type values. They are, I think guys like to provide for others, for their spouse, for potential children, and they want to be relied on. That's what gives, I think, guys purpose, and that's what motivates them. Without a partner or a family, I think a lot of guys kind of not necessarily give up, but they're not going to be as motivated, obviously, as someone that has a family. When you have a family or you have a partner, the situation becomes a lot more real, right? You know that there's more than just you that you have to provide for, and I think that's really the heart of it. Men feel the pressure of having to be the provider, and usually when they're just by themselves, they're not, unless they're really really motivated, they're not going to work as hard as if they had kids or a family or people that were relying on them, and that makes sense, right? So on the other hand, what really motivates women, again, I'm just speculating. I'm not claiming to know. I'm not a woman. I don't know. But traditionally it was family, children, being like a caretaker, being taking care of the home, supporting the husband, raising the family, being kind of the social rock of the family. Women really like, or I'm just generalizing, but communication, interaction with people, building community, and having a good network of friends and people in their life. Guys don't really need that as much. That's why most guys are, you don't hear about women really going off and living in the woods or being hermits or, just kind of, disappearing, right? It's mostly guys because they can do it. They don't need the social interaction to the same level that women do. So what are they really motivated by now? I don't really know. I'm speculating on a lot of it, but if you give them the ability to not really rely on a husband or on a partner, then I think they are motivated by experiencing everything. They want to experience everything. I think women of the past probably felt like they got shut out of a lot of opportunities of being able to work, of being able to be on their own if they wanted to, of being able to earn money, of being able to travel, of being able to be a decision maker. And now they want to experience it, right? Now, essentially everyone's an equal. Women have just as much, opportunity, essentially. I'm not saying it's equal, but I'm saying it's as equal as it's probably ever been. Women can make money. There's opportunities for women to get into professions and careers that are lucrative. And I think that is what motivates women now, is to just experience it all. I use my own example. It's kind of like I like to ride motorcycles. So a lot of times when I'm going, like during COVID, I remember just going way off. I'd spend all day riding my motorcycle. And I went to places I had never been. And I was kind of a little bit like nervous because I was like, I don't really know where I'm going, but this road looks cool. I'm going to check out this road and end up way out in the middle of nowhere. I was just curious, right? I didn't really have to go there, but I was there, I was curious, and I wanted to fully explore the area. And that's kind of what I think, that's kind of an analogy for what I think younger women want to do. When I go to a new place, I'm like, oh, I wonder what's over there. I wonder what that view is going to be like. I wonder if there's a city there or there's something weird to check out. It's kind of like being an explorer, right? That's what all the great pioneers did. They just kept going west, even though they were going to potentially die on the Oregon Trail or even before that on the Mayflower, coming over from England, right? It's just the curiosity of exploring what's out there. And I think that's an analogy for women. I think they spend probably, most of their 20s now kind of wanting to just explore, not wanting to get serious most of the time in a relationship, wanting to keep their options open, wanting to professionally see what opportunities are out there, enjoying having some flexibility and money and, going on vacations or traveling with friends, and not really starting a family. Like I said in other videos, 2 or 3 generations ago, you were pretty much looked at as being a weirdo if you didn't have kids by the time you were like 25. If you weren't married and you didn't have kids, you were just not normal. And you were kind of almost shamed publicly, right? Like, what's wrong with her? Why doesn't she have kids? Now it's totally acceptable. And so I don't blame anyone for doing that. I think that's just normal. I think that's curiosity on the side of women, and they're just playing out their options, which, again, I think guys, I guess, do that as well. Although I think a lot of guys in their 20s, if they found a girl that they thought was a loyal partner and was committed to them, that they would totally get married, or they would totally commit to that person. And I think there's a lesser amount of women that are doing that, at least in their 20s, because they know they have more options. They know that they can make money, or that they can kind of date around. They don't have to get hitched with a guy right out of college, and they can play their cards. So that's, from a game theory perspective, it's interesting because humans, they want to make the best choice possible. So if they don't feel a lot of pressure to settle down, then most of them probably won't, unless they really like the other person, or they have like a really good relationship. You just don't hear a lot about like people that are 20 or around in their young 20s really getting married anymore. It does happen, but just less. They're waiting, right? They're having fun, putting time into their school and then into their career, and then job hopping, maybe moving around to different cities, going on trips, having fun, exploring themselves, dating different people. That didn't happen really in the past, but it does now. So I think that's their motivation, is to just explore and to turn over all of the rocks that historically they didn't get to. They pretty much had to just, get hooked up with a guy and accept their fate. And now, because they don't have to do that, I think they are, you go out and look, and you're turning over every rock, is the analogy, or is the saying, right? You're not going to leave any stone unturned. You're going to meet different people and do different things and try different experiences and travel and job hop maybe, or whatever. And the only real regret of that is, and I think it can affect you as you get older, is as a woman, if you get older, then maybe you realize, I don't have the same amount of options I had when I was like 20 or 25, right? So if you're 30 or 35, it's like, hey, I spent all this time exploring, traveling, focusing on my career, and now I don't have a family, right? And you realize, well, when am I going to do it, right? If you're not dating anyone, it's like, okay, I gotta find a good partner. I gotta like them enough. Probably gonna get married at some point, and then maybe we're gonna live together. I guess we're gonna have to buy a house or something, and then potentially have kids. So if you're already like 35 or closer to 40, it might just not happen, just because of the way biology is, right? So it just gets pushed back 10 years or so. And the same thing I said about guys is that if you live most of your life kind of being single and not really dependent on anyone, and emotionally you're just independent, it might be hard for you to change that, because you're so used to your way of living. Even if you kind of want to have a family and start, and get married, you might just not do it, because you're so dug in and used to the way that you've been living your life, which is kind of like a bachelor or a bachelorette. And you don't really want to, have a big commitment, which kids and a spouse certainly is. So anyways, that's kind of my thoughts on it. You guys let me know what you think. I think guys just in closing, I'll sum it all up. Guys are, I think, motivated to provide. I think that's when you can get the most out of a guy when he has a family. And I think women are motivated to, in today's world, to fully explore all of their options, right? That's what I think motivates them. So let me know what you think. Subscribe for more.